Father and Son, alayhim salam. The great Father and Son, alayhim salam. Alayhim salam.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil anbiya'i wal mursaleen. Amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Habiballah. Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. My dear respected viewers of Madani Channel, we once again welcome you in our program, The Great Father and Son. In this program, we talk about Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam and the biography of Sayyidina Ismail ala nabina wa alayhi salatu wassalam. Respected viewers, today in specific, we're talking about a very famous account of a great sacrifice made in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be with us from start to end, inshallah. Immense amount of knowledge, very unique information, inshallah, we'll be sharing with you. Before we proceed towards our topic of the day, let's make few good intentions, because my Shaykh Tariqat, Amir of Sunnah, has given us this mindset that we should make good intentions before we perform any permissible task or any good deed. As I am presenting this program, I make this intention, I will present it for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you're watching this, you can make this intention, you will watch this, start to end, you remember what you learn, act upon, and pass this knowledge on to others. Respected viewers, last episode we discussed that Sayyidina Ibrahim ala nabina wa alayhi salatu wasalam had made dua, "Oh my Lord, grant me a pious child." And this dua was accepted, was answered. And he received the glad tidings of a forbearing son from Allah Almighty. It is stated in the Holy Quran.
فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ.
Translation from Kanzul Irfan. So we gave him glad tidings of a forbearing boy. The aforementioned verse comprises of three glad tidings which were given to Sayyidina Ibrahim. The number one was Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam will be granted a boy. It will be a baby boy. And second was the boy will reach to the age of maturity. He will be intelligent and forbearing. Halim. Subhanallah. This verse also proves that the pious people of Allah Almighty are given knowledge from the 5 special branches of knowledge. Because giving news that his son will be born even prior to his birth is from the knowledge of the unseen. In fact, it is from one of the 5 branches of knowledge that have been mentioned in the Holy Quran as being reserved for Allah Almighty. Allah Almighty has stated,
إِنَّ اللَّهَ عِندَهُ عِلْمُ السَّاعَةِ وَيُنَزِّلُ الْغَيْثَ وَيَعْلَمُ مَا فِي الْأَرْحَامِ وَمَا تَدْرِي نَفْسٌ ماذا تكسب غدا وما تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت إن الله عليم خبير.
Translation from Kanzul Irfan. Knowledge of the hour, day of judgment, is with Allah alone, and He sends down rain, and He knows what is in the wombs, and one does not know what he will earn tomorrow, and one does not know in which land will he die. Certainly Allah is all-knowing, most aware. In Tafsir it is mentioned, Allah Almighty alone has personal, independent knowledge of judgment day, when it will rain, what is inside the womb, what a person will do tomorrow, and where will he die. With the bestowal of Allah Almighty, with the ata of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the blessed prophets alayhimus salam were granted this knowledge as a prophetic miracle, mu'jiza. And the noble saints, rahimahumullah, were granted it as a saintly miracle karamat. This is proven from the Quran and Sunnah. Therefore, this verse means that if Allah Almighty does not impart His knowledge, then none in creation can attain it. To take the meaning to be that no one knows these things even with the bestowal of Allah is completely incorrect. Meaning, if someone believes that without even telling by Allah, with the ata of Allah, also it is not possible, this is incorrect. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs the knowledge of unseen to His bondsmen, the chosen ones, whomsoever He wills. Second viewers, Sayyidatuna Sarah radiallahu ta'ala anha did not have any children as she was infertile. It is for this reason that she gave Sayyidatuna Hajra radiallahu ta'ala anha Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and said, Allah Almighty may bless you with children through her. So Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam married her. Thereafter, Allah Almighty granted Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam a son from Sayyidatuna Hajar radiallahu ta'ala anha, who was named Ismail alayhi salam. He is the firstborn of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. The Muslims and the people of the book all unanimously agree that Prophet Ismail alayhi salam was older than Prophet Ishaq alayhi salam. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam's wife Sayyidatuna Sarah radiallahu ta'ala anha had no children. As a result, she felt a sense of rivalry when Sayyidatuna Hajar radiallahu ta'ala anha gave birth to Prophet Ismail alayhi salam. The former said to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, separate Hajar and her son from me. This occurred due to divine wisdom, and so Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam received revelation to take Sayyidatuna Hajar radiallahu ta'ala anha and Prophet Ismail alayhi salam to the land where Makkatul Mukarramah is currently located. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam brought them to Makkah and set them under a dense tree near the Kaaba that was located at the spot of Zamzam towards the highest place of the masjid. That was built later. Nobody lived in Makkah at that time, nor was there access to water. After seating them there, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam placed near them a bag containing some dates and small water skin. Then he turned away and set out from there. Prophet Ismail alayhi salam's mother followed him and said, O Ibrahim, where are you going after leaving us in this valley in which there is no human or anything? Sayyidatuna Hajar radiallahu ta'ala anha repeated herself many times, but Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam did not respond. Then she asked, has Allah Almighty ordered you to do so? He replied, yes. She said, in that case, He will not leave us. Then she returned, and Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam departed. When he reached the mount and disappeared from their sight, he faced the Kaaba, and raising his hands, he made the following dua stated in the Quran.
ربنا إني أسكنت من ذريتي بواد غير ذي زرع عند بيتك المحرم ربنا ليقيموا الصلاة فاجعل أفئدة من الناس تهوي إليهم وارزقهم من الثمرات لعلهم يشكرون.
Translation from Kanzul Irfan. O Lord of ours, I have made some of my progeny settle in the barren valley near your sacred house. O our Lord, that they establish the prayer to make the hearts of the people inclined to them and grant them sustenance of fruits that they may be grateful. Respected viewers, if you watched our previous episodes, you must remember that when it was the time when Sayyidina Ibrahim ala Nabiyina alayhi salatu wasalam was thrown into fire, right? There was a chance to make dua in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he did not make dua. Allahu Akbar. That was a next level of tawakkul he had. And that is what he thought, my Lord Azza wa Jal is aware of my state. But in this situation, when he is leaving his family alone in the deserted place, here he is making dua in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what is the difference between the both? Ulama have mentioned, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam did not supplicate during the incident involving the fire, but he did in this instance and expressed his humility. The difference between both is that supplications hold a greater rank. This is despite it also being a form of trust, tawakkul, to not supplicate based on trusting Allah Almighty as the disposer of affairs. For Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam to supplicate during this second incident meant he was continuously ascending the ranks of good. So he was ascending to the ranks of good. And dua is a greater rank. Regarding the different approach pursued in both cases, although both were permissible, it is to be concluded that as the incident of being thrown into the fire concerned him alone, there was room for a far greater discretion. Conversely, the matter here related to his wife and a child, which involved a significantly greater amount of responsibility. This is what accounts for the different approach taken. Subhanallah. For Sayyidatuna Hajar and her child, left in the wilderness, epitomizes the obedience, patience, and trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, shown by her and Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. The latter was ordered by the Almighty to leave his wife and only child in a valley where there was nothing except the scorching heat in the day and complete darkness at night. There were neither any provisions of food and water, nor was there anything to protect them from the heat or cold. Nobody was present to check up on them, nor were there any passers-by. Moreover, there was no news concerning their loved ones or any other person. The mere thought of enduring such an experience would be frightening to many. However, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam showed exemplary patience and obedience by acting upon the given command, without being swayed by the thought of what would happen to Sayyidatuna Hajar radiyallahu ta'ala anha and her child. She too demonstrated her firm belief, level of patience, trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and obedience. Upon discovering that Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam was leaving them in the valley due to the command of Allah Almighty, she did not express concern at what might befall her and her child in a place devoid of food and water and surrounded by mountains. Instead, she proclaimed that Allah Almighty will not leave them and remained there without worry. Even brave men would fail to do such conduct. May Allah Almighty also grant us the share of the obedience, firm belief, patience and trust in Him, which these illustrious personalities had. Ameen. Respected viewers, from time to time, Prophet Ibrahim ala nabiyina wa alayhi salatu salam would visit Sayyidatuna Hajar radiyallahu ta'ala anha and return after a while. When Prophet Ismail alayhi salam grew up and reached an age where he was able to assist his father, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam said to him, "O my son, I have dreamt that I am slaughtering you. So what do you think about this?" Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam told this so that he would not be afraid of being slaughtered and would willingly prepare himself to obey the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so he did, for he responded, "O my father, do exactly as you are being commanded by Allah Almighty. If Allah Almighty wills, you will soon find me amongst those who are patient upon being slaughtered." When Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam set out to sacrifice his son, Shaitan came to Sayyidatuna Hajra radiyallahu ta'ala anha in the form of a man and said, "Do you know where Ibrahim has taken your son?" She radiyallahu ta'ala anha replied, "He has gone to the ravine to collect woods." Shaitan said, "I swear by the Lord, this is not the case. He has taken your son to slaughter him." Sayyidatuna Hajra radiyallahu ta'ala anha replied, "It cannot be, because he is very affectionate and loving towards his son." Shaitan said, "He thinks that Allah Almighty has commanded him to do so." Whispering such evil thoughts to her was a foolish and ignorant move on Shaitan's part. Given that this saintly woman had already wholeheartedly accepted the divine command that led her to live alone with her child in the desolate wilderness. So Sayyidatuna Hajra radiyallahu ta'ala anha stated, if Allah Almighty has commanded him, then what can be better than for him to obey his Lord Azza wa Jal. Subhanallah. Having failed here, Shaitan then went to Prophet Ismail alayhi salam and said, "O child, do you know where your father is taking you?" He alayhi salam replied, "We are going to gather wood for our family." Shaitan said, "I swear by the Lord, he intends to slaughter you." Prophet Ismail alayhi salam asked, "Why does he intend to do so?" Shaitan replied, "His Lord has commanded him." Prophet Ismail alayhi salam said, "Then he should act upon the command of his Lord Azza wa Jal. I happily accept this." When Shaitan failed here as well, he approached Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and said, "O old man, where are you going?" Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam replied, "I'm going to the ravine to do something." Shaitan said, "I take an oath by Allah, I believe that it was Shaitan who appeared in your dream and commanded you to slaughter your son." Listening to this, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam recognized him and said, "O enemy of the Lord, get away from me. I take an oath by my Lord, I will surely fulfill his command." Defeated and humiliated, Shaitan returned from here too. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son both wholeheartedly accepted the command of Allah Almighty. When Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam intended to slaughter his son, Prophet Ismail alayhi salam requested, "Dear father, if you have made up your mind to slaughter me, then firmly tie me with ropes first so that I cannot writhe. Also fold your cloths lest the drops of my blood splatter on you and my reward is lessened, because death is very severe. And sharpen your knife well so that it swiftly runs over me. When you lay me down to be slaughtered, then lay me face down instead of on my side, because I fear that if you glance at my face, you may become emotional and your emotions may act as a barrier in fulfilling the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahu Akbar. And if you find it appropriate, please give my shirt to my mother so that she is comforted and is patient after me." Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam said, "O my son, you are proving to be such a wonderful supporter of mine in following the divine command." Then, as per his son's wish, he first tied him firmly, then he sharpened his knife, laid his son face down, and looked away from his face and ran the knife across his throat. However, Allah Almighty inverted the knife in his hand. A call was heard at the time stating, "O Ibrahim, you have made the dream come true." by willingly presenting your son to be slaughtered. You've taken obedience and subservience to perfection. Now this is enough. Here is an animal in exchange for your son. Slaughter it. This incident took place in Mina. Quran states in these words.
فلما بلغ معه السعي قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك فانظر ماذا ترى قال يا أبت افعل ما تؤمر ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين فلما أسلما وتله للجبين وناديناه أن يا إبراهيم قد صدقت الرؤيا إنا كذلك نجزي المحسنين إن هذا لهو البلاء المبين وفديناه بذبح عظيم.
Translation from Kanzul Irfan. When he reached the age of striving his company, he said, "O my son, I have seen in a dream that I am sacrificing you. So consider, what is your opinion?" He said, "O my father, do what you have been commanded to do. If Allah wills, you shall soon find me, be among the patient." So when both submitted and he, meaning Ibrahim, laid him, his son, down upon his forehead, and we called out to him, "O Ibrahim, you have certainly fulfilled the dream. Thus we reward the virtuous." Indeed, this was a clear trial, and we ransomed him with a great sacrifice. So this was the account of a great sacrifice we had. Allahu Akbar. What a level of perfection, of obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, trust of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, tasneem and riza, Allahu Akbar. Totally submitting yourself in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You name anything, Allahu Akbar. These great personalities, Sayyidatuna Hajra is a mother, Sayyiduna Ismail as a son, and Sayyiduna Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam as a father. Respected viewers of Madani Channel, can we imagine, if we just think about this account, this story, and it is very hard to even imagine what they had done. वो तो कर चुके थे जो करनी बशर की थी. But this was their great sacrifice, which was accepted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not need the blood of Sayyidina Ismail. It was just a trial. It was a test. This was an exam which was passed with distinction by Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, by Sayyidina Ismail alayhi salam, by Sayyidatuna Hajra radiyallahu ta'ala anha. By all of them. They passed with distinction. I don't have words to praise this act of theirs. Allahu Akbar. But what a great lesson for us. And today, we are reviving the Sunnah of Sayyidina Ibrahim ala nabiyina wa alayhi salatu wasalam by slaughtering an animal in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should do this wholeheartedly. Just imagine if the same question is asked, same command is given to us, what would be our condition? But we are not asked for that. We are asked for qurbani. We are asked to sacrifice an animal in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should do wholeheartedly, which has got so many benefits, economical benefits, other benefits also it contains. Alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and ability. We should also remain obedient. We should also have tawakkul upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Firm belief. When we live, we live as Muslims. When we die, and die as believers. That's all for today. We'll be back with another beautiful episode. Keep watching Madani Channel. Keep reciting Salat upon Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. Sallu ala al-Habib sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
The great Father and Son alayhim as-salam. The great Father and Son, alayhim as